Then that's followed by a game on Boxing Day. Tell you what, over Christmas and New Year, we're going to have some big derbies, aren't we? Hearts versus Hibernian. Again, one you can see live on Sky Sports. And the third meeting is at Hibs. That is on March the 1st. After 2 years without a Dundee derby, it's back in the Scottish Premiership next season, and we will see it live on Sky Sports on the opening weekend, August the 4th. Dundee United versus Dundee. They meet again on January the 2nd. That's the same day as Old Firm as well. So again, fantastic day of derbies there, and some great derbies over the Christmas period. And then Dundee United once again host Dundee March the 15th.
Well, as we mentioned, just 37 days to go until it all gets underway once again. And we've got lots of reaction to the fixtures announcement this hour. Dundee United are back in the Premiership, and their manager, Jim Goodwin, is going to join us live at 9:15. There are some new faces too. Jimmy Thielen's first game in charge of Aberdeen is against St Johnstone. We're going to hear from him around 9:45, and we'll also hear from Celtic and Rangers later this morning. Plus, don't forget, you can see your side's full fixture list on the Sky Sports app.
Right, well, if it wasn't enough excitement for you, let's ramp it up. Look who we've got in the studio. Ex-Rangers striker Chris Boyd is here to talk through the fixtures. And don't worry, Celtic, we haven't forgotten you either, because Chris Sutton joins us live from Germany. There he is. I tell you what a front two you guys would have been. Boyd and Sutton. What a tragedy it never happened.
The size of that screen to fit that head in, Mr. Sutton.
That's nice to see. Nice to see you there on time, Chris. Not everything's been on time this summer, has it?
No. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that.
We're always very relieved, Chris, when Mr. Boyd turns up on time. Don't you worry about that. Great to see both of you. Look, firstly, I mean, have you been missing each other since the season finished? I mean, you used to seeing each other all the time. Mr. Sutton, I'll start with you. You must be missing your old friend, Boydie.
Oh, I have. Yeah, I mean, I really have. We've messaged each other a few times. I've missed Chris driving me around. I mean, he's very good at that. That's one of his best assets.
Do you know I've still not had any petrol money either? It's embarrassing. It's incredible.
Yeah, incredible. I can well imagine. Although I have to say, Mr. Sutton, being stuck in a car with Mr. Boyd, that sounds like hell on earth. That, to be fair. And look, I'd love to talk about the Euros, but we're not going to do that, because we've got to get straight in the fixtures. And we're going to start with Celtic, looking for a fourth title in a row. And do you think they'll be even better now that Brendan has sort of had a season back at the football club? Do you expect them to go even stronger next season, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, if you go back a season, Brendan coming back, and he put himself under major pressure. Celtic didn't have the greatest start. I don't think the last summer's transfer window was particularly good. But, after Christmas, Celtic really got going. But there's still a lot of work to do for Celtic over the summer. Of course, Joe Hart has gone. Adam Eder has gone back to Norwich. He was a loanee. He really impressed for Celtic. So, and the Champions League as well. But the important thing for Brendan is, he's back, won the double last season, and I think he'll feel that he's got his feet under the table again and feel that he's in a stronger position than he was last summer.
Chris, what positions do you expect Celtic to strengthen in the summer?
Well, he's got to go goalkeeper, Chris. Joe Hart was brilliant for 3 seasons at Celtic. I think he will be a big miss, big gloves to fill. And that centre-forward position, Adam Eder came in, didn't he, in January? And not everybody was sure about him, Chris, were they?
Yeah, yourself included.
He actually performed really, really well. So I wonder whether... I'd be surprised if Celtic weren't trying to get a deal over the line with Norwich City. But the way he performed for Celtic, I can imagine Norwich City, with their new manager, he'll want to keep him. So, but they certainly need strengthening in that centre-forward position. And the other thing is Chris, hanging on to Matt O'Reilly. A lot of talk about Celtic selling a big player every summer. But, look, if Celtic want to do well domestically and have a go in Europe, they have to keep the best players. And Matt O'Reilly was Celtic's best player last season.
In terms of that goalkeeping role you spoke about, Joe Hart was unbelievable for those 3 seasons that he's there. You know, Celtic are going to have to spend big money because I don't think it's a position they can take a gamble on.
No. I mean, we both know, the Glasgow climate. It's not easy being a goalkeeper at Celtic or Rangers. You need to have. I mean, first of all, you need to be a good goalkeeper, but you need to have that personality as well to handle the pressure. And I think Joe Hart did that superbly well. Big character at the back, and he marshalled that defence in front of him. So that's a really interesting one. Look, I always think that Celtic should do their work early in the transfer market, and they dawdled last season. So I just wonder why there is a delay at this moment in time in terms of bringing a goalkeeper in and players in. We saw with the Champions League last season, Celtic were getting ready for the Champions League when the tournament has begun, but that goalkeeping position is going to be key for Celtic.
Yeah, there's been a bit of talk about Martin Dubravka, of course, Slovakia goalkeeper, plays against England in the last 16, so we'll keep an eye on Celtic's transfer business. But Boydie, from the Rangers' perspective, they say they'll confirm any changes to their home matches as soon as possible because, of course, they're dealing with this situation with Ibrox in the Coupland stand at the moment, so potentially going to be playing games away from Ibrox. How costly could that be?
I mean, you'd still expect Rangers to go and win those games of football, but it's not ideal. I mean, it shouldn't be happening. I think when you look at the way that it's panned out, it's. I mean, if you're going to get something done, surely you know exactly the time frame and when it's going to be, finished by. And I think, like at the start of the season, you want to. Philip Clement on the pitch has done reasonably well. He's going to be under massive pressure this year to deliver for Rangers, and it's the last thing he needs is another headache. Out with his control, I must add, but the hierarchy at the football club need to have a look at themselves and get it addressed because Rangers need somewhere to play pretty quickly, that's for sure. You
asked Chris Sutton about Celtic's transfer plans. Well, what about Philippe Clement? I mean, he's brought a couple of players in, I think, already, hasn't he? But he's going to have some big ambitions of his own to add, is he?
Yeah, I mean, he'll obviously want to bring in his own players, but it's difficult when players are under contract, and you're trying to move them out. But I think, Philip Clement the ones he has brought in the past have done reasonably well, but you've got to start winning things on a regular basis. And, I look at it, and I mean, there has been rumours that Connor Golston and James Tavernier will move on. They're under contract. It's not going to be easy just to force them out. You're going to need somebody to come along and obviously take them off your hands if that is the case. But, Philip Clement, he'll want to get his own players in, but, Chris, we've both been in situations, we've both been in dressing rooms where it's a continuous turnover of 10, 12, 13 players every summer. It's no good. Rangers need to get stability and get stability quick.
I want to ask you both, guys, about the Old Firm games, of course, and the fact that away fans are going to be back involved next season. I mean, fantastic for the neutral watching the game, I guess. But how important do you think that is, Chris?
Yeah, well, massively important. I mean, this has been going on for too long. The away fans not allowed into games. This is one of the biggest fixtures in world football, and I think it was more a shame on Scottish football that away fans weren't allowed in because the fixture is better for away fans. I remember my first Celtic Rangers game. I don't know whether Chris remembers it, the Demolition Derby where we beat Rangers 6-2, but just walking out of the tunnel and hearing both sets of fans, I still think about that. It was probably the best atmosphere I've ever played in. So it's great to see, and the game is better for away fans in.
Yeah, Boydie?
I can't remember that one, but I can remember the 5-1 the following.
Yeah, it's going to be great after. If you've ever even just watched an Old Firm in a pub where there's Rangers and Celtic fans together, the atmosphere that the two sets of supporters create is off the scale. I mean, how pleased are you to see the away fans back?
Yes, I mean, as Chris touched on there, it's crucial for Scottish football. There's nothing worse than you turn up at our biggest game and there's no fans there. And I think it has hindered Rangers more than Celtic, to be honest, because you go back to that game. I think it was the first one at Ibrox last year, Chris, where the place was bouncing and all of a sudden Celtic scored. And, you know, the Rangers fans vented their anger on the pitch. They had nowhere else to go with it. So I think, you know, at least if there's fans in there that can have the banter between each other, as long as it's friendly banter, shall we say.
I was going to say, it's fantastic to see it back, but, I mean, I suppose you give a message. I suppose it is, the fans have to be responsible as well. Great to have these fixtures back with both sets of supporters.
I don't think there's been an issue with that. You know, there's obviously been other things going on in the background regarding the clubs in terms of the supporters and the police, and you know, it's been something that's been looked at. But I don't think there's ever... I mean, gone are the days where, I mean, there's fights galore in the streets, and I mean, it might be after it and everything, but I don't think the clubs can control that. You know, the fans, when they're in the stadium, they've behaved. You know, in the recent games, that's for sure. Yeah, OK. Well, it's great to see it back. Moving away from the old firm to last season's best of the rest, really, Hearts. Chris, hoping to close the gap on the top two, but, I mean, Lawrence Shankland is someone that I'm sure the fans certainly will see as a key player if they're going to do that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, their issue really is they were too reliant on Lawrence Shankland, were Hearts last season with his goals. Phenomenal player that he was, one player of the year in Scotland, and deservedly so. But they need goals from other areas. But holding on to him, that's the key aim over the summer period, because you know he is a phenomenal finisher. Yeah, he's a great finisher, isn't he? And Boydie Hibs have got themselves a new gaffer, and David Gray as well. I mean, what challenges does he face this season? Well, they have to improve. You know, I think when you look at the way that Hearts went about their business last year, they were excellent, obviously finishing third. But Hibs, you know, they were up and down. Another manager lost their job. So, you know, David Gray has worked under a few now. There's been a change behind the setup there as well, with Malky Mackay at the top of it. So, I mean, Hibs need to improve. There's no getting away from the need to. And for the sake of Scottish football as well, Hibs and Aberdeen, we need them in the top six. We need them pushing on to push the rest. You know, and I think, you know, we'll see obviously Hibs doing some business probably. They've signed a couple, but as Chris touched on there with Lawrence Shankland with Hearts, they've already got a few in, but they're going to have European football to deal with as well, so it's not easy. OK, one word each, guys, then. Chris Sutton, who wins the title? It's a waste of time. That's an easy one. I don't even need to answer that. OK, Boydie? Rangers. I got an answer. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Guys, thanks so much for now. That was absolutely brilliant. Really appreciate your thoughts as we react to the fixtures, which of course have come out in the last 14 minutes. We'll have an unprecedented 4 live games for you from the opening weekend of the Scottish Premiership season, starting with Hearts against Rangers August the 3rd, then a Sunday doubleheader with Dundee Derby before Celtic get their title defence underway at Kilmarnock. On August the 5th, Jimmy Tellin takes charge of his first league game at Aberdeen against St Johnstone. See it all on Sky Sports Football and Main Event as well. Brilliant stuff. Right, time for today's mystery player, because we know Chris Boyd loves mystery player. He's usually the first to try and have a little guess on WhatsApp, and this is our first clue today, Boydie, OK? Now, it's got a Scottish football twist today as well, just for you. Your first clue is they are a league winner in England and Scotland. Don't say anything. If you get it right, you're going to ruin it for everyone. Get your guesses in. Use the hashtag GMSF. Boydie can whisper his answer in my ear during the break, and we'll let you know before 10 o'clock. 2 more clues, and the first people to get it right on the guess. GMSF on X. Thank you.
Welcome back to Sky Sports News. The day that the fixtures in Scotland have been announced. If you haven't seen them already at 9 o'clock, just a reminder that there's some absolute corkers to get us underway. Hearts host Rangers, Motherwell host Ross County. We've got a Dundee derby as Dundee United take on Dundee. More on that in a second.
And we've got St Mirren against Hibernian. Champion Celtic begin the defence against Kilmarnock. St Johnstone against Aberdeen. And we are going to get some more reaction now from Dundee United. They are back in the Scottish Premiership after winning the Championship. And we're joined live now by their manager, Jim Goodwin. I bet it's quite exciting today, isn't it? Finally knowing your fixtures, and it's a Dundee derby to start things off.
Yeah, delighted to see the new fixtures out this morning. Obviously, it's a day that we all look forward to, seeing what that First League fixture is going to look like. And yeah, I don't think it could have got any better for the city of Dundee, to be honest. A great fixture for both sets of supporters to look forward to.
How different does it feel this year, given the pressure that was on you last season? You were, of course, favourites for promotion.
Yeah, of course, there was big expectations on us last season, having been relegated the season before. But in the end, I think we got the job done, quite comfortably. We done what was expected of us, and now Dundee United are back in the Premier League, which I think is where this club belongs. And I think it's great for the Premier League as well to have, the so-called bigger teams in that setup. And obviously, you've got a whole load of derbies now to look forward to.
You've done a little bit of recruitment so far. Jack Wharton, he's back. But does the addition of Ryan Strain feel, well, like a bit of a coup?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, off the back of last season, we've had a big turnover of players. The squad that was involved with us last season done great and, got the job done and getting the club back into the Premier League. But, of course, like at any club, you're trying to freshen things up. And a number of new faces have came in already. We're delighted with the business that we've done. Been working really hard behind the scenes with head of recruitment and chief executive, trying to get those deals over the line. And I think the business we've done up to now is good. We hope to have another one at least announced by the end of this week. And we've still got a lot to do before the start of that league campaign. Obviously, up here in Scotland, our League Cup starts relatively soon as well, so we've got competitive football right from the middle of July, and we need to make sure that we're prepared for that.
Yeah, 37 days, isn't it, until the start of the Scottish Premiership season. We mentioned that Dundee derby on the opening day. They finished top 6 last season after being promoted. You maybe challenge your squad to do something similar this campaign?
Yeah, I mean, look, hats off to Tony Docherty and his team. Obviously, off the back of promotion from the Championship, then ended up finishing the season in the top half last season. Of course, we would like to try and emulate that, but, first and foremost, I think we have to be sensible in our approach. Yes, of course, we have ambitions, but, we have to make sure we accumulate the right amount of points to make sure that we stay in the Premier League first and foremost. And then after that, we can start looking for top 6 and everything else that comes after.
Brilliant. Well, we thank you very much for your time this morning and wish you all the very best this season. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
There you go. So Chris Boyd's still with us. So we heard there about Dundee United. So let's talk about Dundee. I mean, top 6 finish in their first season back in the Premiership. They'll be looking to better that. Can they better that next season?
Well, first and foremost, I think with Tony Docherty signing a new contract is fantastic news for the football club. I think the job that he done last season was unbelievable, coming up and then able to get them into that top 6. Listen, I think it'll be very difficult to replicate that. They had a lot of good performances last year. And you would expect Aberdeen to get stronger, you'd expect Hibs to get stronger, and the city rivals are back as well. So, yeah. I mean, it's going to be difficult, but the job that Tony Docherty done was incredible, to be honest.
The fact that they play each other first as well. I mean, whoever wins that, you think often if you win a big derby, it can propel you on to have a great start to the season. If you lose that game, you're already And it's just one game, but you know what I mean?
Especially
for everyone,
especially with the fans as well, because it means more to them. You can lose in a game, but if you lose to your City rivals, then all of a sudden you're under pressure and the negativity starts. But I think Dundee, in terms of the business, have managed to get a few in so far as well. Clark Robertson. They've brought McCracken back, the goalkeeper as well. So that they've got, if they can keep a hold of people like Luke McCowan, who was excellent for them last year as well. They had a few in loan, but I'm sure Tony Dockett will be looking to get a few more in. But I think it'll be very difficult for them to replicate it again. But I mean, if you go and speak to Tony Dockett right now, first and foremost, it'll be staying in the league and then try and push on from there. I mean, even when they were on the verge of the top 6 last season, that was what he was saying as well. We just were glad we're away from that relegation.
Expectations have changed now, isn't it?
Yeah,
like you, you can use that, can't you, for Onu so much, like, talking about just being safe and everything, and it can propel you on.
Yeah,
takes the pressure off the players.
Yeah, but everybody in Scotland will be aware, especially the ones that have. I mean, even Kilmarnock done really well. Obviously, European St Mirren.
Aye.
Aberdeen are going to improve. There's no doubt about it. Hibs are going to improve. They're big clubs. They'll spend a lot more than the rest. They will improve. So it's going to be difficult for a lot of the teams to go and replicate what they've done last season. But you never know.
Well, let me ask you about Kilmarnock, another one of your former teams, of course. They have got, I think, Celtic away first game out the hat, but tough start for them. But what do they have to do to replicate what was a good season for them last year?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be difficult as well. With the danger of repeating myself here, but Aberdeen and Hibs are going to get strong. Dundee United coming back, and then obviously St Mirren and Kilmarnock have got European football to deal with at the start of the season.
Does that help or hinder them?
Probably hinder them in a way, but it's when you look at what they done last season was it's a reward for performances from last season. But if you have to go and qualify, you look at what's happened to the Scottish clubs that have been able to perform in Europe. I mean, I think the ones that have been to Christmas, they've all lost their manager. So, in previous seasons. So, I mean, I don't think that will be the case with Derek McInnes. But looking at Kilmarnock, last season as well, they had some really good performances, really strong at home. Derek will be looking to improve again on the away form, which was improved from the season before. But it's a tough start for them when you see the fixtures that they've got there. Obviously, I mean, they're definitely going to have to win that St Johnstone game at home, considering you're away to Celtic, away to Aberdeen, away to Hibs. So it is a difficult start, sandwiched in between your European games as well. But listen, you're going to have to play everybody at some point. So again, for Derek's point of view, it'll be, can he keep his best players from last year? People like Danny Armstrong and that contributed so much, and I'm sure he'll be looking to get a few in as well. And
like you said, Sid Mirren back in European football as well, first time since 1987. You say it might hinder them a little bit, having the European trips and everything in between. It's
1987, you must have been, what, 15, 16 then?
87, I was 5. Yeah, you were 4.
4.
Yeah.
2 years ago, that.
I know that. No, I was just, funny enough, just to totally go off piece.
Not like you.
Shock, I can hear you all. I couldn't work out where it was in the auto cue there, and someone's been clicking through and looking at the other clues for the mystery player. So I was like, where am I here? But you've been clicking through my laptop and looking at the
I've not been anywhere near your laptop.
Yeah,
what we're speaking about St Mirren. What we were speaking about again.
Yeah, but it's
fantastic.
A similar story to Kilmarnock.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to be tough to replicate, but they need the key players, I guess, to stick around. And
I mean, Derek McInnes at Aberdeen lost his players every year and was able to build and get a new set of players in. And at St Mirren as well, it's the exact same. Stephen Robertson has done the exact same. Anywhere he's been able to go and recruit and get in players that have. That he knows can improve his team. Again, it'll be
home to Hibs on the opening day.
Yeah.
It'll be a good marker, that, won't it? Live on Sky, that you get an idea.
When you look at those fixtures as well, it's Hibs at home, Aberdeen away, Celtic at home, Dundee, it's Motherwell as well. I mean, it's a difficult start to the season, but every fixture's difficult. I mean, let's not be kidded. You can sit and say, well, a chance of picking up points there, and you have, but. Every game you go into, you get a chance of picking up points. But you look at them, and as on paper, it's a difficult start for St Mirren. Europe as well. But they'll be. Stephen Robinson knows exactly what he's doing. He's been over the course and distance. I think the job he done at Motherwell, and then he obviously left, and he's came back to St Mirren to get them to where they are. And a lot of people had them down as relegation or down there. In and around that relegation battle last year. They were absolutely nowhere near it. They were excellent, and hats off them.
Right, we're going to do next clue for the mystery player, which he already knows because he's been on my laptop.
I told you it was.
Yeah, but to be fair to him, and I hate to admit this, he got it right with his first guess. But have you got it right? Get your guesses in. Hashtag GMSF on X. First clue was that this player won the league title in England and Scotland. Second clue was that he started his professional career at the same club as his father. Does that ring any bells? Get your clues in, and can you beat Boydie? You can't really, because he got it within about 3 seconds. But anyway, can you also join Boydie on our first 10 correct guesses? Get your answers in now. Welcome back to Sky Sports News. We have the fixtures for the upcoming Scottish season. Let's have a look at the Scottish Premiership opening day fixtures. If you haven't seen them already, there's some absolute corkers. Hearts host Rangers. It's Motherwell Ross County. There's a Dundee derby as Dundee United host Dundee. St Mirren are at home to Hibernian. The champion Celtic host Kilmarnock, who had a great season last season. And St Johnstone are up against Aberdeen. Some brilliant fixtures there. What about Boxing Day? One of the traditional fixtures that you look for as soon as the fixtures are released, aren't they? Where Celtic are home on Boxing Day. They take on Motherwell. Dundee are home to Ross County. It's an Edinburgh derby as Hearts take on Hibernian. Absolutely fantastic fixture. Kilmarnock home to Aberdeen. St Johnstone host Dundee United, back in the Scottish Premiership, of course. And Rangers, they're away. They travel to St Mirren. And let's have a look now at the final round of games before the split, of course. These could be so key to teams in the top half and bottom half of the table. And it's Aberdeen who host Rangers. Celtic, the champions, are home to Kilmarnock. Dundee United host St Johnstone. Hibernian are home to Dundee. Motherwell host Hearts. And St Mirren host Ross County.
Right, let's get more reaction of those fixtures. And joining us live from Germany is the SPFL's Chief Executive, Neil Doncaster. Neil, thank you very much for joining us. Huge amount of excitement building for the new season. Go on then. How excited are you now these fixtures are out? You can really get going, can't you?
It's great to be back. Thank you for having me this morning. Very excited about the season ahead and to be opening with 4 games in the William Hill Premiership live on Sky Sports in the opening weekend. We're absolutely delighted.
Yeah, viewing figures up last season. What do you think was the biggest driver of that?
Yeah, so we've had record peak audiences last year, 1.4 million tuning into the Rangers Celtic game in April. But across the piece, we've seen audiences go up both on television and in stadia. We've seen record fees paid to clubs, record prize money in the Premier Sports Cup. So I think overall, Scottish football is in very, very good health, and we're very delighted to welcome William Hill on board to be title sponsor for the coming season. So on all number of fronts, I think we're showing progress, and there's lots of reasons to be positive about the season ahead.
Neil, of course we're going to have away fans back at Old Firm matches this season. How much of a boost is that to Scottish football?
Yeah, it's very important that if we can have away fans at games, then that happens. And we were pleased to announce earlier this year that we expected to see the return of away fans at the Rangers Celtic derby games. There's some works that need to be completed over the summer to make that happen. So we've reached out to both clubs to get an update on those works, and we certainly are hopeful that we'll see the return of away fans to those fixtures this season.
Rangers have confirmed, haven't they, that delays to material required for the improvements at their stadium, I mean, Ibrox, won't be available for the start of this season. What contingencies have been put in place, and do the club face any sanctions?
Yeah, look, unfortunately, these things do happen. I used to run a club, and we had to build a stand and work very closely with the league to ensure that our fixtures went ahead with only 3 parts of the ground available, of 4. So now that the fixtures are out, we'll be liaising with Rangers. Obviously, they've got a far better handle on the works than we do, and we'll be doing our best to work with them to try to get them through what is clearly a difficult situation. We've been very impressed with the way that the new chairman, John Bennett, has tried to strengthen relationships across the game, and we'll certainly be looking to work with him and his team to be as flexible as we can be, whilst being fair to everyone else.
We've seen US investment and interest in Scottish Premiership sides increase over the past 12 months as well. Would the SPFL ever sanction a league game to be played abroad, or maybe in the US or elsewhere? I mean, previously you've described it as an exciting concept.
Yeah, look, I'd never say never, but I think it's clearly a challenging concept on a number of fronts. And if you're looking to take a league game overseas, then you're going to be displacing particularly the season ticket holders of the home club, but of course causing inconvenience to away fans as well. So it's not an easy concept, but it's certainly something that we should be open-minded to. And we've seen a number of competitive games from Europe being taken overseas recently, and it's a situation that we're continuing to monitor.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time this morning. 37 days and counting.
Thanks, Neil.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Now, we've got a bit of breaking news, haven't we, away from those SPFL fixtures. It comes from the world of Formula One.
Yeah, Pierre Gasly has signed a new multi-year contract to remain with Alpine for next season. He joined the team last season and achieved a podium finish at last year's Dutch Grand Prix. It's been a bit of a difficult time so far this year, but there's still another space at the team for next season, with Esteban Ocon set to depart, and we'll get reaction to all of that later today. The drivers face the media ahead of this weekend's Austrian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And that isn't, is it, Pete, the only breaking news we've had in the last few minutes?
No, we've got more breaking news now. Lucy Bronze will not be renewing her contract with FC Barcelona, which expires on June the 30th of this year. The England international departing after playing 70 games across 2 seasons.
Yeah, she's won absolutely everything you can win out there. 2 Women's Champions League, 2 La Ligas, 1 Copa de la Reina and 2 Spanish Super Cups. It's interesting to see where she might end up next.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there'll be plenty of clubs having a good look at that one. Right, I already said Chris Boyd got this within 3 seconds. I think it's a new record. And,
God, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm gutted he got it right as well. But the third clue, and this will definitely clinch it for you, this player scored the fastest goal in Old Firm history. That alongside the fact he started his professional career at the same club as his dad, and he also won the league title in England and Scotland. Get your final guesses in. We'll reveal the answer after this break. Right then, here we go. It's time to reveal your mystery player today. And if you didn't have it before, that silhouette will certainly give it away. He won the league title in England and Scotland. Started his professional career at the same club as his dad and also scored the fastest goal in Old Firm history. Chris Boyd was alongside me when I said to him, do you know the answer? And you answered straight away with the answer, which was?
Mr. Sutton.
Chris Sutton, who, if you were here at 9 a.m, was our special guest and one of Chris Boyd's very best friends.
No. No.
They love each other, those two. So, yeah, we had a great chat about Rangers and Celtic with Mr. Sutton and Mr. Boyd. Well done to those of you that did get it right. We had quite a few incorrect guesses as well. But well done to Matthew, Marco26, Michael Hasty, Simon Grant, Craig Spencer, Danny Cullen, Patrick Neville. And those ones at the top right as well, did we say? Robert Kelly, Ewan Sutherland and Stephen as well. So was Robert Kelly our fastest, was he? I think he was, yeah. Well done to Robert Kelly. Brilliant. And, well, actually, I say that. He didn't quite beat Chris Boyd. It was 2 seconds. New record.
I knew you were going to give him.
You got it. I don't think you've ever been the mystery player.
There's not enough clues.
Yeah. I could give them some clues. Don't worry about that. Yeah. I've got all the inside info.
Inside scoop.
We'll be chatting, of course, to Chris Boyd in just a few moments once again. But over to you, Gail.
Yeah, but first, a new season means new faces, and at Aberdeen, they'll have a fourth different manager in 2024 when the season gets underway, with Jimmy Thelen, the man in at Pataudry. He's joined from Swedish side Elfsborg and will get his first taste of the Scottish Premiership away at St Johnstone.
Yeah, expectations will always be there. We know we need time to grow. You can't fix it directly. But the only thing we can do is from day one start to working hard and have a clear direction and do it step by step. And then to accept the expectation, but we also need the time, and I think the fans, supporters will see when we start growing, they're also going to give us some time, because that's what we need.
Will you get time from the bosses here? Have you spoke to the board here? Because they've got into a habit recently of chopping and changing manager quite often.
We have a good talk, me, Dave, Alan and Stephen, what we want to achieve. The contract is for 3 years, and we have a 3-year plan, how we want to do things. And do it a little bit better every year, and that's what the starting point are. That's from today and forward, and not looking back.
Does your style of football, do you think, suit this league?
I always think you have to adapt to opponents wherever you are. Some things are specific here with the second balls, the crosses, good strikers. So I think some parts you have to adapt, but also we have to have some strengths, I think, in our game idea and how we want to play.
I was going to say, is that part of the challenge? You come in with an idea of how you want to play, but it maybe gets adapted once you see close up how the football is, or it may change for different opponents.
I think we're going to see how Aberdeen want to play. It's going to be clear, but then of course you have to respect the opponents, but still you're going to recognise the DNA, what this is Aberdeen and this is what we want to play, but of course we have to adapt some parts.
Final question. Have you looked much into the history of the club? Have you sort of educated yourself on the great teams of the past, or are you a manager that tries to avoid that because sometimes teams can get drawn to the past rather than looking to the future?
Of course I know about Gothenburg and Sir Alex Ferguson and all these kind of things is amazing, and it's important to have this history. You can use it in a good way, but we can't take responsibility for that and put on the shoulders for the player to hear. That's here today. We have to create our own story, and so I think like if you use it in the right way, it's a good thing.
Well, Chris Boyd still with us in the studio. As Gail was leading us into that Aberdeen stuff there. I mean, so much turmoil at the club last season, but Tillen's the new man there in charge, got a 3-year deal. The question is, will he be there 3 years? I mean, I suppose that's what every manager thinks when they sign a new deal.
Well, especially at Aberdeen, because it's been a season and then out. So, I mean, I think there needs to be stability. But, you know, when you read the reports, I think Aberdeen have been after him for a while. They've been able to get him this time. You know, probably because the job Barry Robson done towards not last season, the season before. They were forced to give him that job, and it didn't quite get off to the start that they wanted. Obviously, European football, and it played a big part in Aberdeen struggling last season. But they will improve this year. They have to. No European football.
We said that with St Mirren and Kilmarnock, and have a big impact.
Well, I think Hearts as well. I mean, Hearts will obviously they'll be guaranteed group stages. So I think that you look at the teams that play. We don't have the squads to cope with it. I mean, we see it even with the English ones, and they've got a lot bigger squads in Scotland. So, I mean, it can be difficult. But I felt as if Aberdeen ended the season reasonably well. I think a lot of that down to Peter leaving. Craig Sampson was there as well. He's obviously moved on to Hibs as a goalkeeping coach. But I think in terms of the job that Peter leaving done towards the end of the season was really good, and they'll be looking to build on that. But a new manager coming in. Peter Leaving obviously stays and he's part of the backroom staff, so I think he could be a key member of that because he knows the league, he knows the players, and when you're a new manager coming to a new league, you want as much help as you can possibly get. So I think Peter Leaving could be key to what Aberdeen do this season.
So they were obviously hoping for a better season, as you suspect St Johnstone and Motherwell just both avoided relegation playoff. How did they build this season?
I think it'll be difficult for St Johnstone again. Craig Levein has he done extremely well to keep them in the league last year. There was a time he went in and done okay. Then there was a period where there wasn't much going for St Johnstone, but towards the end was able to get over the line. But it will be difficult again. Ross County, Motherwell. I think Stuart Kettlewell, he seems to. They started really well, and then they had a long period where they couldn't buy a win last year, and then all of a sudden they picked up towards the end and were unlucky not to get into the top six as well. So again, they're a striker that was scoring goals in Theo Bear, but he's obviously been linked with a move away. So if they're going to do anything, you're going to have to keep a hold of him, as the likes of the youngsters Lennon Miller. They've already started recruiting Motherwell, and Stuart, well, he knows the league. He's been in it now for a number of years. I'm sure he will get the right players in there, as we've seen with the recruitment already. But I'm sure you'll be looking for that middle period of that middle part of the season needs to be better for Motherwell.
Don Cowie in at Ross County now. He's got it on a permanent basis, having sort of kept them afloat with the winning the playoff game. But big opportunity for him, young manager. Rightly so though. I mean, again, similar to David Gray, he's obviously been working with a few managers in his time at Ross County, and Roy McGregor's decided that his time's now, and rightly so, because I thought that the way that he handled it when he was given the reins towards the end of the season was able to keep them in the league. It was comfortable in the end up against Wraith Rovers, but they'll want to build on that. Again, they face a difficult challenge, Ross County, in terms of trying to attract players, to the Highlands. Fantastic once you're up there, but you always get the feeling that it's the same type of players, but they have to pay them a little bit more to get them there. It doesn't make them better players. So again, it's about getting the right balance there from Don Cowie, but that's a challenge.
Let's end, shall we, where we started at the top. What is going to be the deciding factor in the title race then in Scotland this season?
Well, I think it usually comes down to the fixtures against each other, but I mean, last season when you look at it, that wasn't really the case. Yes, Celtic ended up winning the games, but if Rangers had won those games in between, then they would have had a chance. But I think you always look at the Old Firm games, you need to come out on top of them and then take care of the rest. But there's no doubt Celtic will go into the season favourites, and rightly so, for the way that they finished last season. And Brendan Rodgers will be looking to spend some money and improve that Celtic squad. He might lose a few on the way. There's a few already gone, but he'll be looking to improve in that, and Rangers will be trying to do the exact same.
Fantastic. Thank you, Boydie. That's absolutely sensational. Thanks for being with us. What a season we have ahead of us as well. A reminder that we're going to have 4 live games on the opening weekend of the Scottish Premiership, starting with Hearts against Chris's old team Rangers on August the 3rd. Then there's a double header on the Sunday with the Dundee derby. Of course, Dundee United back in the Premiership, and then we've got Celtic getting their title defence underway against another one of Chris's former clubs, Kilmarnock. And then on August the 5th, Aberdeen against St Johnstone. See it all on Sky Sports Football and Sky Sports Main Event. Can't wait.
Reminder, you can see your team's fixtures for the new season on the Sky Sports app.
Just scan that QR code.
Yeah.
Download the app if you haven't got it already. And we're going to have plenty more reaction to this fixture announcement throughout the day here on Sky Sports News. We'll hear from the Rangers defender Leon Balogun next and find out what he thinks to their opening day game.